Welcome everyone. This is our weekly meeting, and today we have one of our residents. This is Marcus Goodall.
Hi guys, it's me again.
Marcus is here from Hong Kong. He's finishing his PhD here, and so we invited him on camera to ask questions. And so, Marcus, what's the question?
I've got a question regarding meditation techniques. Bob, I know that you're teaching also meditation, and I was fortunate enough to attend your seminar in Luxembourg last year, which was very inspiring to me because I've been probably, as many other practitioners, also on the spiritual path, as this is kind of a side path in Chinese medicine. And so I just wanted to ask you, what's your viewpoint on the whole topic of meditation, enlightenment, and thereof? I know there's a lot of things going on nowadays, for example, with Eckhart Tolle or with Tony Parsons and these guys, and so there's a bit of confusion out there. I just would like to hear your opinion, since I really much enjoyed the entire seminar that you gave on it.
The whole concept of enlightenment is really misunderstood, and a lot of it has to do with the way the topic came out of India and the whole yogic philosophy movement and the teachers that came from India, Muktananda, Maharishi, and the ones like Vivekananda. And the teaching was always, well, in my case, my name's Bob. And so the teaching is, well, if Bob is a good boy, and if Bob meditates really very faithfully for years, if Bob doesn't eat any poisonous food, if Bob is a good Bob, then eventually, maybe, possibly, little Bob becomes big Guru Bob and is now at the center of the universe. Excuse me. And this is simply not true. It's just not true. And for those people like myself who spent years in meditation, I spent 10 years pretty much in quasi-silence. I was in silence for 2 years, and then the rest of the time I was meditating pretty much around the clock. And finally I had this awakening that I saw clearly there is no Bob meditating, there never was a Bob meditating, and that the whole meditative process was happening spontaneously, and there's no controlling agent over the meditation. And it took several years to gain a perspective on what had actually happened. But what's clear to me is that there are teachings in the world which make it very clear what awakening really is. I don't like to use the word enlightenment because it seems to indicate that there's somebody who acquires a blissful state, and that's not true. If enlightenment had to be sort of defined, it would be the sudden, dramatic, overwhelming realization that there is nobody who gets enlightenment, and there is absolutely nothing to be enlightened about. And that is the truth. And what Buddha said was perhaps even more poignant. Buddha said about the realization experience that everything is just happening. Deeds are being done, but no individual is doing the deeds. In other words, the thing inside of us that's seeking salvation is the problem. It's the sense that we are separate from our environment, seeking somehow some sort of phantasmagoric experience is not valid. The thing inside that's searching for some sort of meaning in life, that thing is an illusion. There is no individual there. There never was. There's a body, there are thoughts, but there is no controlling agent over the thinking process. Thoughts are occurring spontaneously. That's why no one can guarantee what the next thought will be that comes into their brain. Nobody can control their thoughts, and nobody can control the outcome of their thoughts. So the whole concept of free will is an illusion. There is no free will. There's no free-willing agent. There's just this incredible situation where there's looking, seeing, tasting, touching, smelling, but there is no looker, no smeller, no breather. There's nobody. And when that happens, of course, there's no one to suffer. There's no more suffering because the sufferer can't be found. This is what Lao Tzu was pointing at, Chuangzi, Liezi, Buddha, Shankara, and a number of great Zen masters, all saying the same thing, that you already are what you're looking for. And by the way, there's nothing to be found. So the searching is a mistake of the intellect, that the searcher could never find what they're searching for because the searcher doesn't exist.
So what's the whole deal with Eckhart Tolle and, you have to stay in the now and these things? Is that the same thing?
Unfortunately, and I like Eckhart Tolle. He's a beautiful man. He's very eccentric. But he keeps telling everyone, he keeps giving the impression that you can do something to be in the now. And of course that creates a lot of very odd behavior because his disciples are walking around trying to talk slowly like Eckhart, and they're trying to be in the now and don't allow any aberrant thoughts to enter the mind. This is just not true. He should tell everyone the truth, and the truth is, you are the now. You've always been the now. There's nothing other but the now, and so you can't be out of the now. We suffer because we think we're not in the now, and his teaching is that you're not in the now. So you're just piling on the suffering. The teaching is very clear. You already are Brahman. You are the Tao. And you are suffering under this gigantic hypnotic dream that there's a you in there suffering. So it's like Brahman is dreaming that Brahman is suffering.
So the problem is that with Eckhart Tolle, there's a you that tries to stay in the now.
Yeah, he keeps giving the impression that there's a you inside of you that can somehow be in the now.
Okay.
And so what will happen is, it's a beautiful message, but it won't last too long because the people will become very discouraged after a while. In the beginning, yes, in the beginning they'll have the experience of being more silent and, for the lack of a better statement, more present perhaps, so sort of centered, but they will be stuck in the state of constant effort to be in the state that Eckhart is in spontaneously.
Okay.
That's why even someone who has very few aberrant thoughts, where the whole thinking mind is basically quiet, they have a working mind which is capable of answering questions and solving problems, but the thinking mind, the psychological mind, is gone. The psychological mind is the mind that worries about the past, the future, worries about everything. What will happen to me? It's clear that in Eckhart, that mind is very, very quiet. But for some reason, he feels compelled to tell people that somehow you can, through effort, you can acquire this quiet mind. And it's simply not true. It won't work. So it's better to tell the aspirant from the very beginning, by the way, you can meditate, but there's no one in there meditating. See clearly that the thoughts come spontaneously. See clearly that what you are is that which is noticing the thoughts. You are the noticer, and the noticer is watching everything, but in control of nothing. This brings great peace and great solace to one's life. And you will do what your body is programmed to do, and it's just a simple watching everything unfold. Life is beautiful. but it's not owned by an individual. It's all the source is running everything in the world. The source is conducting everything, and if there is a future, the source knows what it is. There is no individual that knows what it is. Have a nice week.